And we're back. And welcome back to our All I Can Say our podcast. All I Can Say today, there's been a lot of talk about the moon landing, right? Over the years.
Over the years, yeah.
Over the years, there's been a lot of talk about the moon landing. And what I've noticed is that people have come out with all kinds of theories that say that it never happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wasn't there one that was like, oh, how do they stream it to like the television if they were all the way up in the moon?
But they did.
Yeah.
They actually did. Now, and I'll tell you that because it wasn't something that happened overnight. That's the first thing you have to know. So, so we're going to talk about kind of the stages. So I'm going to try to talk about what the stages were and how it lay. I've got notes here, and I'm going to be relying on them heavily because no, this ticker doesn't work that well. Yeah. And there was a lot of information that I had to sift through. One of the things I used to get a lot of my information, one of the places I went to was Today I Found Out with Simon Whistler. That's a really good. So if you want to get like the really in-depth information, I would suggest going there. There's a lot to it. So I actually have an uncle who worked on the ground floor with the computers on the ground base, home base on one of the Apollo missions. So that's one of the reasons why I know it happened. I know what happened.
Yeah.
Because I happen to know somebody who worked on it. So this bit, like, I know a lot of people like to just try to say that something didn't happen. And the flag, by the way, wasn't made out of cloth because there is no real atmosphere. So there's not a lot of wind and stuff like that. They deliberately made it so that it would stand up and out like that. That's why that looks the way it does.
Was it like a board or something?
I don't know if it was probably a little bit of metal, or I don't know exactly, but something that was like not cloth, like just the limp cloth, right?
Yeah.
They wanted it to, they're trying to show off because
didn't the dye also bleach? Didn't it bleach out?
I don't know.
I think it's gray now.
Oh, it probably is. Oh yeah, that would never last, right? Oh, gee. It gets like super hot in the moon and the sun, and super cold on the moon when it's dark. I think I even have some of those like what it is. And it started in 1961. That's when they finally said, okay, we're going to land on the moon. And of course, they didn't land on the moon until 1969. So it took 8 years. And it was started by President Kennedy. And one of the reasons why I'm just remembering this. I'm amazed. I'm amazed. One of the reasons why they sort of haven't gone back to the moon, there's more than one reason, but if a president says, okay, let's do this again, kind of, the chances that it would happen within their presidency is slim. So
basically
they don't.
Zero.
Right. So what happens is if I say, okay, we'll start this, and they know that the person that will end up with the credit for it sort of will be the president that comes later. But that kind of happens too.
Well, didn't Kennedy start the?
He did.
And doesn't he get credited for that?
He does. So I wonder if I think he does, but I think it might be because he ended up being assassinated. I think that might have one of the reasons, because
I don't know.
I don't know. I
think he would still get credit for it.
I think to me, if you're the one that made the decision, that seems to me that you would end up with credit for that.
Yeah.
He actually, that's the sad truth. He didn't even live long enough to see it happen. You know how sad that is? Oh, that breaks my heart. But anyway, so they were already working on things before that final decision was made. And it was made because Kennedy wasn't very popular. There had been the Bay of Pigs and there had been the Cuban Missile Crisis. There had been things that had happened, and like so, because his popularity was kind of tanking, he decided this would be a really good way to up his game, and it worked. It did work, And they knew that Russia.
Because it kind of feeds into like the
arms race. They had to beat Russia.
Yeah. Because like you can push more like national feelings of like, oh yeah, let's go, because everyone unites under like, we want to beat this guy. Yeah. We want to beat someone else. So yeah, they used the fact that they're gonna like beat the Russians as the way to get them on board.
But that's fine. So they started out with, I guess the very first idea was the direct ascent. McDonnell Douglas, aerospace contractor, had developed the idea for the 2-man capsule. But the government didn't want to go against the, what were they? The North America Aviation. So they had the 3-man capsule idea. So that's what they went with. They stuck with the 3-man capsule. In 1967's Apollo mission, it ended with the death of astronauts. There was a fire, an oxygen fire. That's when they came out with the idea for a lightweight. It was going to have to be lightweight landing module. So the module that actually separates and ends up landing on the moon had to be made out of something really lightweight. John C. Hobalt, he comes in. He's a civil engineer, and he comes into the whole thing, and his team come up with the Lunar Orbit Rendezvous concept, and that's the one that I'm going to show you. That's the one that does the loop around the moon, and
that's the H shape.
That's it. And they see, I'm going to need my glasses because I can't see this. Which, of course, was met with anything new is met with resistance. So,
well, it makes a bit of sense that they would be resistant to that sort of idea, because in a way it feels more complicated and less likely to actually succeed than if you just landed and then came back, because it's a much more complicated route, and it would take a lot longer, and so there's a lot of room for error.
Yes.
More so than there even was to just straight up go in a straight line.
Right.
Honestly.
Right.
So I get why they would be resistant to that kind of idea. Is that what they ended up?
Oh, they ended up going with that. They came up with the idea to have the lunar surface rendezvous. This allows a spacecraft to go land on the moon ahead of the actual landing module with the men in it.
Yeah.
And that has fuel in it. So it goes down first and it lands on the moon first. And then when the men land on the moon, they use the fuel to refuel their gear, so that they can lift off the moon.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Because they're going to have the fuel to lift off the moon. So this was the idea they come up with.
Yeah,
to
so
do
they
that.
have their supplies show up before them, and then they get there, and then they use the supplies to
right.
get back again.
So there was a lot they didn't know. They didn't know what the surface of the moon was like. Was it like several meters of dry dust that might swallow up the lunar module? The weight of the the weight is the most challenging issue, because it has to weigh under 10 tons. Now I think what is it? Yeah,
that is really light.
Yeah. So how to configure the placement of the astronauts changed over and over again as they kept rectifying that. And the materials of the outer shell and landing gear, considering the stresses of the moon's environment, it's 121 degrees Celsius in direct sunlight, 121 degrees Celsius, and it's minus 133 degrees in the shade. Like that's in.
So yeah, they needed a material that was strong enough to withstand leaving the atmosphere, entering the atmosphere, doing all the landing, being in like the extreme temperatures, and then also making the way back.
It's crazy.
And is also under 10 tons. Yeah,
and it's got to be under 10 tons. Crazy.
That is crazy.
It was primarily covered in a multi-layered blanket of aluminized DuPont Captain Polyamide film, often appearing as gold foil, because it does look like that. And if you see pictures, look them up, you see that it has that gold look on the bottom of it, particularly.
Yeah.
This film acted as a thermal blanket, providing insulation against the extreme temperatures. It was not actually gold. It just appeared that way.
Yeah.
It was more like semi-transparent. But anyway, so they came up with that, and that was a new technology at the time. And the shape, it went from cylindrical to octagonal prism. So the shape of the landing.
Yeah, because you're thinking about like the shape of like the module is like
it's like octagonal kind of.
Yeah,
weird.
It's kind of like blocky in a way.
It is.
Yeah.
Yes, and that's the landing gear. So the rocket, of course, is cylindrical, and that stays. But they changed the shape of the landing gear. It's really like it's pretty cool, And it had to have 4 legs.
Yeah.
And the feet were covered in a plastic form as well to absorb the shock when it landed, so that the 4 legs turned out to be the most stable of, obviously. Why wouldn't it be?
Yeah.
We have 4-legged tables, 4-legged chairs. It's not like you can't have a 3-leg, but obviously 4 is more stable.
I think the idea would be like to add more legs, if not 4.
Right? Yeah. But they went with the 4 legs. Oh my gosh, that's right too. Okay, so the ascent engine could only be fired once when they're leaving the moon.
Yeah.
So they had to make sure that when they were practicing it, like on dry runs on Earth, that every time that ignited every time, because they only had 1 shot. So on the mission, so they send up one and they do the exercise. They orbit the Earth, they come back. Then they do another one, they orbit the Earth, they go further out, then they come back. They go and they send another one out in each one of these. And there was how many of them? In Apollo, because they did 7 so the first manned flight was actually October 11th to the 22nd. That was Apollo 7. That was the first manned flight.
Yeah.
So all the others before that were unmanned flights. Then the second flight was in 68, December 22nd. That was Apollo 8. That's the second manned flight. And the third manned flight was in 69 of March 3rd to the 13th. That was where the first docking and extracting, they practiced that. And then later another would carry out this is Apollo 10, would carry out all the steps that had to be taken except the actual landing on the moon's surface itself. So it descends down to the moon, and then they fire it up and go back up before they land.
Yeah.
Now, they knew, can you imagine being that close to landing, and they didn't want anybody to be tempted to land. So they made sure that they only had enough fuel. And they had to know that, look, you only have enough fuel, you're not going to be able to land, you just got enough to get you back, that's as far as you can go. So that they wouldn't be tempted to land because of how close they would be to landing.
Yeah.
So that's why it was Apollo 11 where the moon landing, they landed the lunar module. That was the big one.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. So imagine you went through, we're going around the orbit. orbit 3 times around the Earth, success. Okay, now we got that figured out. We figured out where the men, how to configure their seats. And they did cut a lot of corners, by the way, because they were trying to do this in a hurry. This was fast, right?
Yeah, because they were racing Russia.
Yeah. And they got the figure 8 figured out. That did that first anyway. And then they figure out then they figure out how the moon, one of the unmanned I think was the one that they figured out that the moon's surface actually wasn't that, the dust wasn't that deep. So they knew they were okay with that.
Yeah.
And they get all the way up there and they ascend and they do it again. This time they know this time we're going to land. This is it. And you think they didn't land? Of course they did. That's one of the reasons. So why did they stop?
Well, it's dangerous. It costs a lot of money. Like they were doing it to race Russia.
And they won.
They
already won the race.
It was over. They did it. So.
And it is dangerous.
Yeah.
It actually is dangerous. So it's dangerous. It costs a lot of money. And also, like I said about the president not getting the one who says, yes, let's go for it. It's not going to be the one that probably will be in power by the time they do it.
Yeah.
So this is why it's up to people like Elon and...
Well, I mean, now that they have the framework for how to do it and they have figured all of that out, it would probably take a lot less time to actually land on the moon again. So who knows? It could very well be that, like, if like the president who says, like, we're going to do this again, they probably could get there before he is out of presidency.
They might be able to do that. Yeah, I don't see why they couldn't, given that they already have covered all that ground.
Yeah, most of the time that they spent like figuring out all that stuff originally, that's already been done.
Yeah.
So they already know how to do it. They already know like what route to take. They already know most of the calculations. So all of it is like planning out the specific like launch that they're doing now and any new upgrades they want to make, right? That kind of thing.
That's
like
right.
any adjustments they would make to make it even like more safe or more guaranteed, that kind of thing.
Yeah. The other thing is they're more interested in Mars.
Yeah.
So
Mars is the next big thing. Yeah.
It's the next big thing, and now if they sort of get into a situation where they're actually doing more like going to Mars, then they might be more interested in the moon.
It is true that like making an effort to aim for the next big thing, they can use all of the adjustments and changes in information that they learned through doing that to make the ascent to the moon easier, that kind of thing, right?
They could.
So they're learning more about it by going for an even bigger target than if they did just trying to go back to the moon again.
There seem to be, they're definitely more interested, and I mean they have gone to Mars and not manned, but but
they've had the rover on Mars for like a long time.
I think it's still buzzing around.
I'm pretty sure it is.
I think it is.
Rover on Mars. Just look it up.
Is the rover still working?
Active?
Yes. The Curious rover is still active and operational on Mars as of June 12, 2025. Right now, good heavens, it has been exploring the planet for 4,568 SOLs. Martian days.
Yeah, so 12 years.
NASA's Curiosity rover is also actively involved in the NASA Science Mars 2020 Perseverance mission.
Yeah, so TLDR, it's still going.
The rover's still going up there after that little guy. And what do we know?
Did you know that the rover plays Happy Birthday for itself every year?
Oh my god. What? Are you serious?
Yeah.
What? Where did you ever... What?
I don't know. I remember hearing about that in high school.
Happy birthday to me, all by my little lonesome.
Yeah. So he just wanders around, gives them like a video feed that has like 5 minutes delay. and it plays Happy Birthday to itself
No
every year.
way. So yeah. So RFK needed some good publicity because he was having it. Yeah, it was the Bay of Pigs, which was a disaster. Oh, that's another story. But we're not talking about that. 17 Apollo missions altogether.
So they only landed the one time, but they did.
They only landed
missions?
man one time.
Yeah.
But they went to the moon six times.
The next 6 times, yeah.
They
didn't land.
No, they didn't land. They're dangerous, and the designs were really they really weren't all that safe, 100% safe. And the reason they weren't, like I said, was because they were cutting corners.
Yeah, they were going as fast as they could.
Yeah.
It'd probably be much safer now. Still like not safe, but
No.
you'd be less likely to die now.
Yeah. Do you know that the computer that they used back then, the computer that we have now, is probably more than 100 times more powerful than the computer on the spacecraft in the 60s.
Yeah, that makes sense.
100 times more powerful.
Well, if you're thinking about, like, this is the 60s, they were using the absolute best technology that they had at the time.
Yeah.
That was not even, like, remotely public. And then today, which is...
I mean, just we've gone that far.
Yeah,
holy moly.
which is like 60 years later.
You know what's interesting is even SpaceX launches they're still doing it the same way.
Oh yeah.
They haven't changed the way they approach this, right?
Yeah, well that makes sense to me, because why broke what if it ain't broke, don't fix it. They figured out all the calculations. They figured out how they wanted to do it.
Yeah.
And they see no reason to change it because it keeps working. I do imagine that those computers that they were using in the 60s for, like, the space project, they were probably massive things, weren't they? They probably were, right?
The rocket or the
the computers.
Well, they filled the room for sure.
Because when they first came up with the computers, they already did that, and these are, like, the more powerful versions of that. Do you think think they had figured out how to condense them already?
This thing is more powerful.
Well, yeah, I know that.
It's crazy.
Well, they figured out how to condense all of the information down into much smaller sizes, but still retain all of, like, the actual stuff inside them.
Yeah.
Because basically, like, the information itself can be as tiny as you can possibly make it, as long as it has, like, the pathways and the ability to move in the way that it did in those big chunky computers. It still works the exact same way.
Yeah.
It's just on a smaller scale.
Yeah. I just feel like there's a lot more they probably could be doing, and they're not doing it.
I think they're working on even smaller things, right? Because like the idea is that they just want to make everything as small as possible, and so they're using we're at the point where I think China is making the most, like, headway into that, and they're doing like actually like teeny tiny, like, with microchips. I think that's what they're working on. I've heard that. I don't know. Take that with a grain of salt. I heard that from Dad, and we know.
Where did Dad hear it? We want to know where he heard it from.
Many sources. I don't know, but I'm pretty sure that's what they're working on.
I think,
I don't think that's wrong. I think what he's more likely to be wrong about is their capabilities.
Maybe. I don't know. I know, but they're working. They're still got the rover on Mars, and I think that their sites, well, especially Elon, his sites are on Mars, and that, like, maybe once they get there, then they'll have a relay station. Then they'll start looking at building a relay station on the moon. So it's a layover.
Yeah.
A place to fuel up. It would be pretty. That would be pretty fun, right?
It's just a storage facility.
Just go to the moon and stay at the motel.
Hope they have good air conditioning.
Yeah, they're going to need and heaters. It's going to have to really be something. Well, they could wrap. If they could wrap, it'd be expensive. Holy moly, so expensive. Anyway, they landed on the moon. Okay, that's enough of that.
Yeah. they had all of like the greatest minds of the time all working together to do this thing. Like it's unreasonable that they wouldn't be able to actually do it.
They did actually do a practice run where they did put the cameras on the spaceship itself. So and they used like the documentary style cameras that they at the time, and they practiced that as well. It's not like they trialed everything first.
Another thing is that we have stuff orbiting the Earth, right? Yeah. And we have all kinds of them. They're all over the place.
Good heavens!
The fact that we have those up right now should be enough proof that we could totally make it to the moon.
Yes. We can.
Like we managed to calculate
all that. We could go again if we really wanted to. We could, absolutely.
Yeah. So using the knowledge that we knew about like going to the moon, we created those satellites and everything.
Yeah. See, there you go.
So the information, everything they learned transferred over to those types of projects.
Yeah.
So they definitely did land on them. Yeah. Plus if you believe that they landed, that means that you get to theorize about the aliens that they met there.
The
aliens.
They don't talk too much about them.
There's an alien base on the dark side of the moon. That's what my dad always tells me.
Oh, good heavens.
And he knows all the details about all the different types of aliens and what they're like and how they're like they have like this war going on. Like, they're like, they're looking to recruit humans or something, or like they want humans to like join the this is all real stuff he's told me.
Can you even imagine? Oh, and it's got to be on the dark.
There's like the Greys, just like the tall Greys, just like the white giants or whatever.
The moon does orbit the sun, so you notice how the Earth has different times where it's dark and then it is light. I don't think it's any different for the moon.
Yeah,
it's dark and light on different times.
I've heard that there's one spot, there's a couple spots on the moon that like never see light.
Never see light.
But there's no spots on the moon that never see dark. I don't think.
No, so there is a dark spot that doesn't see light.
Yeah, but there's no light spot that doesn't see dark.
That's where all of this activity's taking place, so we can't see it. I don't think so.
But yeah, that's
all this activity's going on up there and warring. And we can't.
But it's on a different. It's in a different dimension.
Then we get.
What's it called?
It's the alien dimension.
Quantum. It's quantum, dude. It's quantum.
Yeah, the alien dimension. Yeah.
Yeah, because aliens exist in quantum realm.
Yeah.
That's why we can't see them.
Do you even? If the aliens exist, they exist. And if they don't, listen, maybe they do. But like years and years ago, my brother and I had that debate, like we talk about this around the kitchen table. And he was a reader, and my mom was a reader, and they read a lot about, space, physics. My uncle was a physics teacher. He, like I said, he did work on the ground floor of one of the Apollo missions. He was deeply involved in all of this stuff. And it wasn't that we didn't agree. We all agreed that there has to be life out there. We can't be the only life that there is in all of the universe, with all of the galaxies, there's got to be some kind of other form or life form or something out there. But the ability for that life form to reach us is what that's the issue. Trick. That is the issue.
Because without a doubt, like we've had there's evidence that like there was water on Mars, right?
Yes,
I believe so.
I believe
there was once an ocean in Mars. So and the fact that there is an ocean means that there could be life.
Absolutely, there's
there is microorganisms on Mars that are alive. They are creatures.
Well, that's
fair. They're just microorganisms. But what that goes to show is that even in like the situations where the planet is in imperfect conditions, there can still be life, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
yes. So whatever
there's life everywhere.
It's like fish need to be in water, but if we're in water, we can't breathe. And you know what I mean?
Yeah. Regardless of whether or not like the planet is is in the right condition to actually house like a lot of life, there still is life.
Yeah.
So on top of the fact that like there are millions of planets that probably do have very similar kind of environments as Earth does, where there's all kinds of life everywhere.
Yeah.
There's also planets that are almost there and have like a little bit of life still on it.
Seems to be
so
because
there's all kinds of aliens. There's aliens all over the place. But the fact that like the fact that that people want there to be like they want there to be aliens that can reach us. But that is the hard part. Yeah,
it's them being able to get
that
to us. They
is
could
very like they're. I will admit, it is a non-zero chance.
It's pretty. She's slim.
I
gotta tell you,
non-zero chance because we've been able to travel to other. Like
Mars.
Our moon, right? We've
Yeah.
been able to travel to our moon. We've been able to get something onto Mars.
Mm-hmm.
It is possible to go from planet to planet, and we have proved it ourselves. But to be able to go from like galaxy to galaxy,
that's another thing.
That is a
It's
different
time.
monster,
So we're talking about the
Yeah.
time and distance and the ability to get there in enough fast enough that we would still be able to able to live long enough to get there.
The thing is that either the alien themselves needs to have the life like an incredible lifespan that we can't even really like even fathom.
Yeah.
And they would have to be willing to travel all that distance.
That's a long way from home, baby.
Or they have to know how to do some sort of like space-altering technology that we don't understand, or it's wormholing.
Right. Something that.
According to my father,
here we go.
He says that quantum physics allows you to warp space and be able to jump to different areas in space without actually needing to travel. That's what he says that the scientists have reported.
I don't know. Quantum physics is still it's
still very much
young.
In infancy. Yeah.
Yes, it is very young.
But I mean, there is a possibility that like there is an alien out there that knows quantum physics enough to warp space and time to be able to go wherever they want. Instantly.
It could be something they stumbled upon.
Again, it is a non-zero chance. And that could be the way that they could actually be living on the quantum plane. That is a real possibility.
Well,
but again, we have no way to prove it. We've never seen it.
And we never, in my own eyes, right here, these people.
And the chances are so slim that they may as well be zero.
It may as well be zero. It really has. You have to take into consideration.
So yeah, my stance is
what it would take.
Is 100% guaranteed aliens exist for sure, but them being technologically advanced enough, or at least like in a different plane that allows them to warp space-time, probably not. It's probably not.
And to live long enough to
Well, they would have to.
It would be like because it would be like you're cutting corners then.
Oh yeah.
You're not actually going. You're cutting some corners
that's
to get there.
Being on other dimensions, so you can just kind of like.
Yeah, it's like my brother once said: if we could find a way to sit on the end of a flashlight and go right at the end of the flash, but you see, you would expand and die. You couldn't do it. That's the other problem, right?
Yeah.
Whip you around the freaking galaxy at the end of a flashlight.
Or at least, like, that's what they say is that quantum is like basically the fourth dimension. Yeah.
They haven't. I know that there's some. I've listened to some people talk about quantum physics, and it's fascinating. It really is. But
yeah. I'm pretty sure that like a tesseract can exist in quantum.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure.
What's that?
Well, that's when you have like that's basically a 4D shape.
A what?
A 4-dimensional shape.
Oh, okay.
So like there is a shape within a shape, but it's still Okay, it's like a solid shape. So like imagine a box. It's like a solid box.
Yeah.
But inside of it, there's another box.
That's
but it's
the
still
fourth.
but it's still one solid box. There's no holes in it.
That's wild.
Yeah, that's kind of what a tesseract is.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure that can exist in the fourth dimension.
Fourth dimension. Now
and supposedly that's what quantum is.
I will have to say, Einstein did talk about that.
Yeah, well, the first, second, and third dimension exists. Why can't the fourth one?
I think it has to do with the way there are things happening in the fabric of space that shows up. Like
I'm pretty sure, like the way I understand it is that each different each different dimension is a different state of being, essentially. So like the first dimension is time.
Right.
The second dimension is, I think, light. And then the third dimension is like state of matter.
Matter, right.
The physics of wave fields, I'm pretty sure, is what quantum is. Don't quote me on that.
Wave fields, that's what I understand it.
Yeah, that's. Yes. I'm pretty sure that's what it is.
Yeah.
So it's the space within space. So a lot of things that have to do with electronics and like waves and radio and all that kind of stuff is technically quantum. Okay. If you think about it, it's just a simplified and realizable way to observe and use quantum physics inside of the third dimension. I think that's what it is.
All right. We're going to find out, because we'll look that up and bring it up on another podcast. And this one is over and out.
Yeah.
We're going to say goodbye.
Yeah.
Okay? Oh!
What?
Don't forget, like,
comment,
subscribe,
and follow our socials. Twitter.
Or
X, if you're cool like that.
Twitter X. Why'd he change it? Why didn't he just leave it alone?
People know.
People know. Until next time.